I want to start with my boyfriend, Bucky. He is an archaeologist and a maritime historical writer. And where he is at with this information is this a bunch of snake oil? And where I am at is that this is amazing, and I have been practicing these laws of the universe, and they're wonderful. And each and every day I just practice finding the best feeling I can feel in any given situation. Even if I would in the past shame myself for that feeling, no, now it is the best I can be, and go and just keep growing.
Have you noticed that Bucky's life works for him too?
Yes.
In other words, the laws of the universe do not distinguish between what philosophy you've adopted. The laws of the universe are responding to your vibration. And there are a lot of people who are very steeped in a religion that you may not be. In fact, almost everyone who's steeped in any religion is definitely not interested in any other religion. In other words, they all find the one that they believe is the one. But there is a lot of alignment that a lot of the people can achieve by finding something that resonates with where they are, and therefore they are aligned. You can say to Bucky, and it might ease your situation, that it is not important that you agree about everything. In fact, you come into this physical experience wanting to interact with others who have different ways of looking at things, because in the variety of thought, new ideas are born. And the thrill of being on the leading edge of thought is being somewhere close to a new idea being born, you see. An archaeologist is really not so forward-looking, however, as backward-looking. And so they are spending quite a bit of their time looking at what happened and trying to explain what was. And it's the thing that scientists get into trouble with all the time, is that they have such a responsibility to their scientific community to speak to the reality of what was or what is, that it makes reaching into the new place slower and harder for them, because they're beating the drum so much of what was or what is. We would say to Bucky, if he were anywhere near listening to us, that there's not a shred of evidence anywhere to the contrary of law of attraction, and that anybody who is wanting to get a sense of their own power, all they have to do is softly and gently and slightly look for the correlation between what I'm thinking and feeling and what's coming to me. And with very little effort, you can begin to show yourself that. As you show yourself the correlation between what you're thinking and feeling and what's happening, it doesn't take very long before you come to your own conclusion that this is a responsive universe and that it is responding to your signal. Yes.
Yes.
Now, what to do about convincing Bucky? Well, we would do nothing. We would look for evidence of his well-being, and we would reflect it back constantly. And we would focus upon our own well-being. In other words, we would not try to ever convince anyone about anything.
It's not my responsibility
Teach through the clarity of your example. Yes. And now,
and so where I'm at, like a couple of weeks ago we were at the bookstore, and Bucky suggests I go look at the metaphysical books. And I thought that, it's supposed to,
no snake oil there, eh?
No, it was okay until I found, I happened to find the Seth book, Jane Roberts' book. I've heard Esther talk about that. And I hadn't read it yet, but I wanted to, and I found it. So I started to read the Jane Roberts book. And I started to think about how our non-physical energy has been practicing coming forth and speaking in, through our physical bodies. And now we are at a point where, look at how Esther and Jerry come here and you come together, and we are able to sit in this group of people and start to have these conversations about our vibration and being intentional about what we create in the world, and that we are that powerful and that we can do it. And so, I've listened to some past tapes, and then over the last year, once a month, and now I'm wondering, what else could we do together? Where else can we go? What more than just accumulating all this stuff that I can have anything of and eat anything? And what more could we create and do that we're getting this collaboration going between physical and non-physical?
Well, it is endless, but we want to say to you that wherever you have been in any point in time, you have always been on the leading edge of thought. And while you are very excited about where we all are here today, physical and non-physical conversing and physical coming into conscious awareness about their leading edge place and their ability to create, there will be a time in the future that archaeologists will look back on this time that we are sharing now and seeing this as old time, as time not all that evolved. You see, source energy, non-physical energy, has been interacting with that which is physical from the moment that there was anything that is physical. There's another big topic opening there, isn't it? In other words, first there is thought, then there is thought form, then there is manifestation. So here you are, the extension of non-physical energy, out here on the leading edge of thought, wanting this platform to produce within you clarifications and preferences that will cause you, individually and collectively, to summon source energy into this new leading edge place. And it's always going to be just like that. We agree with you that it is especially delicious when someone has conscious awareness of how it all works so that you can begin applying it deliberately. But we want to say to you something that we don't think you're considering, and it's really worth considering because it will soothe you about all the Buckies in the world that aren't agreeing with you about this new leading edge place that you've found. And that is, whether anybody hears anything from Abraham or not, well-being still abounds. And whether anybody knows about the art of allowing and about moving up the emotional scale or not, well-being still abounds and the emotions still abound and people still want to feel good and are basically reaching for things that do feel good. And whether anybody has ever heard about any of this or not, the contrast of this environment is still producing desire within all of you that is launching rockets that source energy is answering. So the evolution is taking place and things are getting better and better and better and better and better as they continue to expand. So don't worry about anybody that hasn't figured it out.
No.
You know, your grandmother could have taught you to be appreciative and you would have had all of the tools that you would ever have needed to live happily ever after. So, as we come forth as teachers of deliberate creation, and as teachers to remind you how to get back into sync with allowing, and back into alignment with who you really are, everyone is born wanting to feel good. And everyone is born with their own personal perspective from which they are launching rockets of desire. And source energy is answering all of those rockets of desire. And what we're giving to you here is how well situated this leading edge time-space reality is. In other words, can you see how much thought has gone into it and how well orchestrated it is and how much well-being abounds? If you could measure the well-being versus the people who are in any moment holding themselves apart from well-being, well-being is far the dominant stream that flows. We want all of you to soothe yourselves by acknowledging that it's not your job to take anybody and make them understand anything, because you might be here in this place of knowing and they might be here in this place of doubting, or they might be here in this place of fear. And no matter how hard you try to help them know what you know, they've got some vibrational adjustment to do before they can even begin to hear you. And so whatever they're living is causing them to launch their desires that are appropriate to them. It isn't appropriate for any of us to want on behalf of anyone else. In other words, we want them to thrive, but we should not want specifically for them.
Yes.
So as you understand that the wanting of any of them causes them to launch their rocket of desire, and that source energy and law of attraction will orchestrate, rendezvous the circumstances and events so that what they're looking for will be revealed to them at the time that they are most likely to be able to hear it, then you can relax and be the leading edge teacher that you are. In other words, there will always be a teacher that will take them from where they are to a closer place, to a closer place. And here's the powerful statement that we want you to hear, because we think it is what you've come asking for. Find whatever your thing is that makes you feel good when you do it, and do it. And then trust that law of attraction will line you up with people who are looking for that. Good.
But I also
Yes?
wonder about, like, what, being, yes, everything will work perfectly whether or not we're being deliberate or not. It always has. It's just fine. But what about if we're deliberate?
Oh, well, don't misunderstand. We really want you to be deliberate. There's nothing more fun than to stand in a place, recognize that you want something, know that you're not a vibrational match to it yet, then listen to the way you feel and deliberately work yourself into vibrational alignment with it, and then be consciously aware as you see the universe delivering evidence to you that you're on the right track, and then to experience a full-blown manifestation of something that was once only a dream that you brought yourself into vibrational alignment with. Yes, we teach that. We want that for you. But at the same time that you're living that, you cannot feel angst that everybody's not living that. Right. Because your angst over the others that aren't getting it mutes your vibration and keeps you from getting it too. So you soothe that by saying, people are where they need to be. And then you soothe that by saying, and I'm up and ready to give whatever I can give whenever I can give it. But you don't let yourself dip into despair about those that don't get it. And you don't get into intellectual debates with people who have found a philosophy that's working for them. Let their philosophy work for them while you live what's working for you. You'll bring so much grief to yourself as you try to convince anybody that your plan is better. Your plan is better for you. Their plan is better for them. Yes.
Right. Yeah. It's that simple. I kind of make it complicated for myself.
Well, that's because you want so much for people to thrive. Yes.
I do. When all there is for me to do is mind my own business and feel the best that I can, and just keep looking for things that I want and keep making decisions.
And you can really break it down simply by saying, minding my own business means feeling the best that I can, because my business is feeling good, because feeling good is my indication of my point of attraction, and my point of attraction is my reality, and that's pretty much my business. Yes, it is. Good.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, indeed. Here.